Close your eyes. Soften your gaze, looking at a spot on the floor. And just notice if your body needs to adjust to get maybe 10% more relaxed. Your body may need to shift and adjust during this meditation, and that's okay. Give your body what it needs to feel safe and supported. I invite you to bring your attention to your breathing. You don't need to change it or control it, just notice it. Notice how the air moves in your body, how your body expands to make space for your breath. How does it feel to breathe in your body this morning? And bring your attention to your nostrils and see if you can notice how the air is slightly cooler when it is inhaled and slightly warmer when it is exhaled. Feel the chair or whatever you're sitting on supporting your body. Notice what it is like to have your body held by what you're sitting on. Notice where your body makes contact with what supports you and where it doesn't. Your body is always in the present moment. Bring your attention to your ears and notice what sounds are in the room besides my voice. Are there layers of sounds, sounds that are closer or farther away? Just notice. And now I invite you to put on your imagination. Sometimes we don't have a lot of practice using this skill, so give yourself some compassion as you practice. And imagine that you have roots connected to the soles of your feet, and they're sinking down into the earth, dropping through the building, going into the foundation, into the soil beneath us. The soil might be cold or warm. It might be dark or light. It might feel loud or quiet. It might have a scent to it or no scent at all. Just notice. And pretend that those roots have tiny eyeballs on them, and you are getting to see the hidden worlds that humans do not often encounter. Notice the layers of different vegetation roots, mycelium networks, and sediment that your roots are passing through. Maybe there are small animals or other beings whose movement you can sense. Or perhaps there are even smaller beings whose movement you cannot sense, but you sense their presence. And notice what it is like to be aware of the presence of all these beings: soil, plants, rocks, animals, water, temperature, microbacteria. And breathe here. Notice how the beings respond to your breath as you respond to theirs. You are part of the nature connections here. You too are nature. You too belong here. And now, slowly climb back up your roots, back into the foundation, back through the building, back through the floor, back to the soles of your feet, back to this room, this day, this time, this present, and inhabit your body once more. Noticing the sounds here, noticing what you're sitting on, supporting and holding you. noticing the temperature of the air flowing in and out of your nostrils, your body breathing. And when you are ready, please take a deep breath and open your eyes.
Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. 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 O great Spirit, O great mystery, guide us down the path of the heart. O great Spirit, O great mystery, guide us down the path of the heart. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. O great Spirit, O great mystery, guide us down the path of the heart. O great Spirit, O great mystery, guide us down the path of the heart. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. O great Spirit, O great mystery, guide us down the path of the heart. O great Spirit, O great mystery, guide us down the path of the heart.
Thank you, Jodine. I'd now like to give you a little biography of Marni, our guest speaker today. Marni Perschnick is a licensed clinical social worker and inner spiritual minister. She is the founder of Sacred Nature Church, a local forest church rooted in the nature-based spirituality, reflection community, and the occasional nature craft. Marni brings together clinical insight, spiritual direction, and lived experience to support thoughtful, grounded spiritual exploration. So I would like to welcome Marni back up to the platform. If you'd like a place for that, we can.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here today. So my name is Reverend Marni Perschnick, and I'm an interfaith, interspiritual minister. And whatever you believe or don't believe, I'm so glad you're here today. I trust your relationship with the divine, love, God, spirit, however you want to refer to it. And I invite you to take what is helpful to you and leave the rest behind. And I want to begin my talk today with a land acknowledgement, acknowledging that we are on the summer home of the Washoe people, and they have been in this area for over 12,000 years. They have nurtured a beautiful, sacred relationship with this space, and we get to benefit from that. And the culture that I come from has been in this area for about 200 years. And unfortunately, white settlers saw this as more of a resource to be used rather than a living sacred being. And so I invite you to move forward with intentionality when you're out skiing, enjoying the snow, or hiking in the forest this summer at the beach, to just pause and give thanks to the relationship that the Washoe nurtured with this area. And also, if you're in the Carson area, I invite you to visit the residential school that is in this area. It's no longer a residential school, but it was for over 90 years. So check it out and learn some history of this area. So a little bit of background on me. I grew up in Lake Tahoe. I went to Myers Elementary, graduated from SDHS in 2006. I went to LTCC, and then I went away for college in Oregon and Idaho. Came back here in 2020 with my husband, and we have a 2-year-old. That was her on the screen that you saw, Ada. And let's see, and you may have seen her last week. She was in the cheetah onesie. Yeah. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I provide mental health counseling here, and then I also do forest therapy walks. And I also started the Forest Church, Sacred Nature Circle. We meet in Myers every other Sunday. If you want to join, we're meeting today at 3:30. Let me know if you want details. We're meeting indoors right now since it's cold, but in the warmer months, then we're out in the forest, and we follow the wheel of the year, the Celtic wheel of the year. And throughout my life, I've experienced a spiritual journey. I was raised Catholic. I went to St. Teresa's Church here, and then I converted to Protestantism, and then back to Catholicism, and now I'm kind of wider lensism is where I land. And I've embraced that spirituality is a bit of a spiral itself. So evolution and change are natural and normal, and all iterations of spirituality can be valuable. As Ram Dass said, we are all walking each other home, and that includes all the parts of ourselves and all the iterations of ourselves. We're walking ourselves home. So I've been asking myself this question, who is God, or what is God? And it's kind of like asking the question, what is nature? There are so many ways of answering that question. It's a huge question. And it's going to be based on your lenses. Where did you grow up? Did you go outside a lot? What are your experiences in life? Do you have houseplants or pets? Do you observe the seasons? Have you watched nature documentaries? Nature is a huge term. And in my life, I have attempted to understand God, and so I've lifted up several lenses. And lenses can be helpful, right? Sometimes we need containers to hold rainwater so that we can understand a storm, while at the same time understanding that the container is limited, and that experiencing a storm is very different than studying just rainwater. But we need both. The container is helpful to the experience. And perhaps more, we need more containers, more experiences to really capture this storm. And is it possible to capture the entirety of the storm? It's easy to fall into the temptation of certainty. I know I have. We like to know what we know and know that it's right, know that it's truth, and our brains love black and white thinking. It's easy, good or bad, all or nothing. It's clear, it's secure. And when we're stressed, the higher thinking parts of our brain go offline, and so we're left with our limbic system. And the main purpose of that system is to survive. Black and white thinking is easier when we need to just survive. It takes extra energy to think in the gray. But we're not just here to survive, we're here to thrive. And we're here to connect with each other in the gray. So in my forest therapy training, I was introduced to the concepts of the web of inner being and liminal space. And they both contribute to this idea that we're all connected, and we impact each other with the choices that we make. The web of inner being is a Zen Buddhist concept, and Thich Nhat Hanh actually coined the phrase, and it expresses that we do not exist in isolation. We are connected to everything. We're all part of the web. Everything relies on everything to exist. And if we pull a string in the spider web, we may not feel the implication right away, but we will eventually feel that impact. Our well-being and our suffering are wrapped up in the well-being and suffering of everything else. My suffering is wrapped up in your suffering. And so too, my joy is wrapped up in your joy. So in psychology, there's a concept of co-regulation. And that is that one nervous system can help regulate another, simply by just being next to it. So we see this mostly in parenting. If a kid is really upset, throwing a tantrum, there's encouragement for the mature nervous system, the adult in the room, to regulate their nervous system, and they're going to impact how that child feels. Words aren't even necessary. It's just your presence and how you're showing up that can speak volumes of safety to the other nervous systems in the room. And this goes for other humans too. Let's see. So being regulated means that you are calm, you are grounded, you are attuned, you are present. And this takes time. It's not as effective as like a fear-based, compliance-based approach to children or to humans, but it teaches safety and health, and so it's important and good work. So maybe think about this the next time you're in a grocery store line, maybe people are stressed around you. If you can get your nervous system relaxed, maybe take a deep breath, feel your feet on the ground, you can start to impact the nervous systems around you, the ones in the web with you. So in a sense, our nervous systems overlap. And where beings overlap is where we experience liminal space. I first noticed this myself when I was spending time practicing forest therapy and sitting by a granite rock in the forest. I was slowing down, observing the details of the rock, and I noticed that the granite was decomposing into smaller rocks. And then those smaller rocks were decomposing into smaller grains, and then they were mixing with the soil at the base of the rock. And I asked myself, can I draw a line where it's just the rock and where it's just the soil? And I couldn't. They were overlapping. And nature has lots of examples of liminal spaces. It's not quite one thing, it's not quite the other, it's the overlap. So marshes between the solid ground of a forest and a river, the season of spring between winter and summer, on the Celtic wheel of the year, Imbolc between the winter solstice and the spring equinox, the dawn between night and day. There may be this trajectory that we're heading toward, but we're not quite there yet, and we're not quite where we came from. We're in the middle ground, where the edges are blurred, and we are passing from one threshold to another. And liminal spaces are important. They're where possibilities exist. New combinations of different overlaps can create new experiences, ideas, and even new beings. So I got to experience this summer. I have a sit spot that I go to in the forest near my home, and we got a lot of rain, and then it was followed up with very high temperatures, lots of sunlight. And I got to see a new being sitting on a log next to me. It was beautiful, it was white, and it was a furry slime mold. And it very unfortunately named dog vomit slime mold. You can Google it if you want. And I had never seen it there before, and I haven't seen it since. So I feel lucky that I got to witness its visitation in this liminality. And we too are nature. We need the overlaps that we experience with others to live a more full life. Celtic spirituality encourages us to remember. Remember that we are members of nature. Remember. Return to your membership. There's this incredible quote. It may be my favorite when it comes to understanding God. And some of you may be familiar with it. The comedian Pete Holmes uses it in some of his sets. And it's actually where I first heard it was Pete Holmes. And the quote is this: God is the name of the blanket we throw over mystery to give it shape. So I'll read that again. God is the name of the blanket we throw over mystery to give it shape. And that was said by Barry Taylor, a former road manager for AC/DC. And while my spirit has floated around with some different lenses and containers and tried to figure out what God is, I have landed on this metaphor that has been most helpful to me. And it's kind of silly, but I feel like the silliness helps it land better for me, helps me remember it more. So when I was younger, we had cats at home. They were my favorite. I wrote songs to my cats. If I had a difficult day, I would sit with one of them, tell them about what I was going through. They kept me company when I was sick. They slept with me to help me feel brave when I was scared of the dark. So God spoke to me through cats. And I apologize if you're a dog person. But I believe that God is like a mama cat. So the kittens, all new to life, and they're blind, they stumble into love and nourishment as they nurse at the mama cat's side. And they line up in a random order, and they eat, and they experience their mother. And if we were to ask them to describe that being that is nourishing them and that just gave them life, one might say, she purrs. Or another might say, she licks my head. Another might say, she has a tail. And they are all correct, and they are all incomplete, and they are all drinking the same milk. And so I need your blanket that you've thrown over the mystery to give it shape. And you need my blanket too. And all together, maybe we can make a patchwork quilt of who or what God is. And maybe your blanket purrs, or maybe your blanket has a tail. And thank goodness you brought your blanket with you today so that I could experience a little bit more of who God is through you. Tomorrow is Martin Luther King Day. And the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. understood this idea of being interconnected. He spoke about the web of inner being, not with those terms, but with the idea that when one string of the web is plucked, the vibrations can be felt throughout. In a letter from Birmingham jail, he said, "We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied to a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. And injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." I have felt the vibrations through the single garment of destiny, and I feel myself looking to leaders like Dr. King even more recently for hope and direction. The world can feel scary when the web gets shaken and pulled at. I feel like a spider sometimes just barely clinging to the web in a storm, and sometimes I want to stay connected, and other times I don't. I feel the negativity and the hurt, and I want to leave for a new web. I don't like being connected to so much pain and hurt. No one does. But darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. And so I must commit to being light, to being love, to regulating myself so I can help someone in the grocery store line co-regulate, to valuing someone else's blanket to tell me more about the mystery, to stay connected to this web of inner being so that we can continue to move forward in life together. Today is a new moon. It's a wonderful time to set an intention for something that you wish to grow in your life. And then as you look up over the next few weeks and notice the moon growing, you are reminded to keep that intention growing. How might you influence the web? How might you show up as light, as love, as someone who is grounded and safe, capable of co-regulating? And I want to be clear, I don't expect you to be like this all the time. I'm not like this all the time. We need to feel what our bodies are feeling, and we get to have moments when we are not our best. Our best changes every day, sometimes every moment. And so when it feels accessible or even small, how can you shine light in the darkness? And I will end with my version of the Lord's Prayer. O Creator, you are within all. Sacred are your many names. Your seasons come, in love be done. Divine is our true nature. You give us each day all that we need, and you love us in our learning. Help us love others who are learning also. You lead us into light and transformation, and you deliver us from ego. And so it is. Thank you.